I want to show people the direct connection between woke ideas in schools that James is talking about, and then how these people end up quite literally in our government, often handling things as important as immigration. Check this out from the Daily Wire. The U.S. Immigration Enforcement Agency hired a former spokeswoman for the Palestinian Liberation Organization, the PLO, and put her in a position to determine who gets to come into the country as an immigrant or asylum seeker. Now the Department of Homeland Security officer is repeatedly posting pictures of Hamas terrorists parachuting in with guns and writing F Israel and any Jew who supports Israel, a Daily Wire investigation found. Nejwa Ali worked in 2016 and 2017 as a public affairs officer for the Palestinian delegation to the U.S., which, according to its own website, served as the PLO office in D.C. That office was expelled from the country by the Trump administration, but Ali landed on her feet, according to a screenshot of her LinkedIn profile, securing a job at DHS as an asylum officer, where she was tasked with applying immigration laws and regulations to asylum applications. This January, she moved over to being an adjudication officer for the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. People with that job, according to the agency, analyze new or amended legislation and policy, prepare written reports and findings, and review and make determinations on cases for immigration benefits. Melissa, this is particularly important because suddenly Jamal Bowman, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, they're saying that we should take in 1 million Gazans. And do you think that maybe we don't have the best of the best vetting these people? Or I guess a more cynical version would be that we actually have enemies within that are glad to let some bad people in?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we deserve to find out what happened there. How on earth did the fox, get in charge of the chicken coop? Want to jump back a little bit on the connecting all that dots and why this particular story should alarm us all. It's that, when I saw these protests in New York City in Times Square, there were signs that said resistance is not terrorism. And that word was very, very prevalent during the 4 years of the Trump administration. You heard resistance all the time. It's also what Antifa and BLM thought they were doing. They, under the banner of resistance, they justified burning, they justified looting, beating up conservative journalists to a pulp. You can justify so much under the banner of resistance. And that's how people are justifying now what Hamas is doing as well. And in the mindset of these people, where you have this bundle of ideas that kind of get like swallowed wholesale everywhere, everything from, decolonization to anti-racism and everything. And by the way, decolonization, it's very clear that this radical rhetoric with zero limiting principles was not merely just a call to rid curricula of Mozart and Shakespeare. It turns out, and I think, the left is waking up to that it's far, far, far more sinister. And so for someone like Nejwa, is that her name, who is working for the DHS?
I don't know the exact pronunciation, but hopefully we don't need to know her name after this. By the way, I should note that she's on leave as of yesterday, so there is, I guess, a bit of a silver lining here.
Good, but you can imagine that somebody with that kind of mindset of resistance, what they would be willing to do in that capacity in order to achieve their political goals. And that's what makes them dangerous.